Morning students, we were studying about chapter 2 New Kings and Kingdoms. We have read some part of this chapter in our previous video. To be continued from the previous, we will read about the Cholas. We have read about the three dynasties. The Cholas are also from there. Then we will read about the Cholas, their administration, their art and agriculture, their sculpture system. All these things we will read in this video. The Cholas. The most prominent dynasty of the South Indian plains was the Chola dynasty. The Cholas were contemporaries of the Chalukyas, the Pallavas, the Pandyas and the Rashtrakutas. The Cholas were earlier subordinate to the Pallav kings of Kanchipuram. Vijayalaya Chola was related to the ancient ruling family of Cholas. He belonged to Uriyar and had captured the Kaveri Delta region from Muttiyar in the middle of the 9th century. The new dynasty was founded by him, which ruled from AD 846 to 871. Vijayalaya built the town of the Tanjavur and made it the capital of his kingdom. He also built a temple for goddess there. The most prominent rulers of the Chola dynasty were Rajaraja I and Rajendra Chola. They conquered the neighboring kingdoms and annexed the Pandyas and Pallavas territories that were to the south and north of the Chola Empire. Rajaraja I is considered the most powerful ruler. He also recognized the administration of the empire. Rajendra I continued his policies and raided the Ganga Valley, Sri Lanka and the countries of East Asia. He developed a powerful navy for this expedition. What about the splendid temples and bronze sculpture? The Cholas made great contribution to art and architecture. They built temples according to a basic plan that drew some distinction from the North Indian style. The best example of temples are the Thanjavur and Gangkondachollapuram. They were built by Rajaraja I and Rajendra Chola. Their architecture is marvelous. The Cholas are also best known for their metal image and stone sculpture. Around the Chola temples grew settlement of craftsmen and traders. An image of Nataraja made in bronze under the Chola dynasty in the 10th century AD has been found. It continues to be reproduced in metal, stone and other materials even today. What about the agriculture and irrigation in the Cholas? The Cholas had become powerful on account of trade and agriculture prosperity, as we have read earlier. They used their money for initiating agriculture reforms. These reforms helped in building a strong agrarian landscape aboarding their economy. When we see the map of Chola kingdom, river Kaveri branches off into several small channels before emptying into the Bay of Bengal. These channels renewed the soils of vast food plains year after year. The fertile soil were responsible for agricultural prosperity of the region. Besides rice, many other crops were also cultivated there. The existence of large number in tanks of this period also points towards agricultural prosperity. The agricultural reforms spread far and wide, especially from the 5th and 6th century AD onwards. During this period, forests were cleared in some region to provide land for agriculture. This land was leveled and special agriculture tools were used. In the delta regions, embankments were built to prevent floods. Now read about the irrigation. A variety of methods to irrigate the fields were put to practice. These included canals in the delta region, wells in some areas and tanks in others. These irrigation works required planning, organized labor and resources, maintenance of work and decisions on sharing of water. Now we will read about the administration of the empire. How was the administration in the Cholas dynasty? Under the Chola rule, the villages were made self-governing units. These administrative units were known as Kurram, Nadu or Kottaram depending on the size of the village. A number of Kurrams consulted at Valnadu. The villages were governed by local assemblies known as the Ur, the Sabha and the Nagaram. The village councils and the Nadu performed several administrative functions including dispensing justice and collecting taxes. The Cholas had a well-organized resource mobilization policy. The resource mobilization was also one of the main goals of administration. In the Chola dynasties, the main features are centralized administration. The rich peasant of the Vellal caste exercised control over the affairs of the Nadu. It comprised many villages. Anadu was directly under the supervision of the central government. How was the revenue? Productive cultivated land during the time of Raj Raja continued a major source of land revenue for the upkeep of the Chola Mandalam. What is the role of landowners in the Cholas dynasty? The landowners were given titles as Bomandavelan, Adiyar as a mark of respect. They held important office at the center. The assembly of Brahmins was known as the Sabha. It was a very powerful institution. It looked after the land gifted to Brahmins. The assemblies were well organized and functioned effectively. The main feature of the organization of the Sabha were there are separate committees to look after each different aspect of the land gifted to Brahmins. There is a membership system. The name of eligible members written on palm leaves were put in a earthen pot. A boy was asked to take out a specific number for each committee. In this way, the committees were constituted. Okay, with this topic, we are finishing up this chapter. Read this chapter 2-3 times and listen the video 2-3 times carefully, because online classes is a new concept for you also. Then in a one time it is not possible that in the subject of SST you can understand the topic. So you have to listen the video at least 2-3 times with reading side by side from your book. I will send the PDF for question answer. Then you have to write down all the question answer neat and clean in your notebook.